right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be my first video on LS swaps, tips and tricks. I'm telling you, you're going to want to listen to this because this is my first LS swap, and it was so much trial and error that I had to do, to actually get it, right. So, hey, listen to me. I'm going to give you some good advice. All right. So, first of all, you're going to need new engine mounts. If you're running like a 350 or you running like an older motor, you're gonna need up to date. You're gonna need engine mounts. You get those right off Amazon. You may need a cross member for your transmission in order to for it to sit right. Or you may need to modify. You may be able to modify your own the old one that's on there. All right, I use electric cooling fans. They cool the engine off real good. So a lot of the problems that I ran into with the swap was first thing, getting it running. So getting it running, there's a main power wire that you use on your harness, right? So the mistake that I made when I first started it up after I got it put together is that I put it on a wire. There's a wire that comes off the harness. If you get an aftermarket harness, which I recommend, instead of going through all that bullshit, trying to fucking depend and all this shit, just to get you an aftermarket harness, it's plug and play, all except for the under dash wires. But those under dash wires are labeled and it tells you what to use, which one to use. So the main engine start wire, I made a mistake and put it on a wire that loses power once you turn the key on. So you want to put it on a wire that stays hot after it started, and that's what keeps that's the main wire to keep the engine going. Okay, so engine mounts. You're gonna need. I use Headman headers, right? Because it's a really tough fit for any other type of headers. Those headers I got from Summit Racing, those are made for that. Like, man, they fit in like butter. They just went right in. So you want to use those Headman headers. They work beautifully. Yeah, let's see if I can get a picture of the little logo on them. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's what you want right there. Hustler headers. All right, Mr. Hustler headers. I got those for Summit, made for the LS swap. Man, made my job a lot easier. Now, a lot of people, they want to go with the fast intake. I went with the Trailblazer SS intake. Now, the thing is, like this intake can help, produce a little bit more horsepower, and you won't be spending $1,000. I got this intake for like $100 from a guy off Facebook Marketplace, and man, I'm totally happy with that. Definitely, I changed the valve covers. It's kind of tight inside of here on the passenger side. I'm kind of debating if I want to get rid of the box with the AC and do something different. I could have a little bit more room over there. I was good on the driver's side. Your fans, I got this kit from Painless. They're called Painless Performance Products. And that, it comes like the relays and the wiring for your electric fans. You're gonna want to do that. My fans, they're programmed to kick on at 180 degrees. The thermostat you want to use, you want to go for the 160 degree thermostat. Because you want to try to keep this thing cool. So don't get the 180. Another thing that people don't tell you is about the gas pedal. The gas pedal, man, that's just like a whole different monster, right? So you got your throttle body, which this is a drive-by-wire, right? And then you got this module that's for the throttle control, right? This module right here. And it connects to the gas pedal, and then this goes and connects to the throttle body. So I had to modify my gas pedal, right? So I basically went and bought a gas pedal for this engine came out of a 2004 Yukon Denali. So I went and bought a gas pedal for that. But what I did was I modified the original gas pedal that came out of the Cutlass. So this is the original pedal, right? From here to this little shank right here. That's the original pedal. All the rest of this right here, this is from the new pedal that I got from the Denali. So I basically cut the pedal off from the new Denali one, and then I welded the original pedal in to that sensor, and it works perfectly. Yeah, measured it, put the old pedal in, see how high it's set up off of the ground, and marked it, screwed it in, and it's good. But you're gonna have to make sure that's right, or it ain't gonna run. Another thing is your oil pressure. So I built this motor. Like a lot of people, they'll do an LS swap, and they'll just buy a used engine out of a junkyard, and they'll fucking just throw it in their car. But see me, I'm like, the junkyard shit, man. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it if you're gonna do it like that. But it was my first build, so I was like, you know what? And it was my first swap, so I'm like, I love my Cutlass. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to, fucking just put some shit in the junkyard in there and it run like shit. Well, I seen it run, but a lot of times you don't see those engines run. And a lot of times they'll be like, hey, this engine got fucking, it only had 90,000 miles on it. We pulled it, man. Lying like a motherfucker. That fucking engine had like fucking 400,000 miles on it. So I was like, I went the route. I just rebuilt the whole engine myself. Got forged pistons, new piston rings. Had to fucking took the headers off. I mean the heads off to the machine shop. Had those done. Took the whole crank, all that shit out, put in new bearings, do all that shit. So, and then once I actually finally got the engine running, I heard fucking lifter noise. So the mistake I had made on that, I'm just telling you, so if you decide to go that route and build your motor, you won't make that mistake, is that fucking O-ring for your fucking pickup tube for your fucking oil pump. And the kit came with like 3 different O-rings, and I fucking did any, mini, mighty, mo, and put the wrong fucking O-ring in there, put the whole motor back together, and fucking, after I had it fucking got it started, I'm hearing lifter ticks on both sides. So having that many lifters that's going out, it had to mean that I had bad oil pressure. So that's the only thing, the only problem I have with the aftermarket harness. The aftermarket harness does not come with an oil pressure fucking connector to fucking connect to the oil pressure sensor. So you kind of like doomed from the start. So I put in a fucking manual fucking oil pressure sender. You can kind of see it behind the, right there. And when I connected it, fucking put it into the fucking, started the car, had like no oil pressure unless I revved up the engine. When I revved up the engine, then the lifter noise would go away, and you could see the pressure reading on the gauge. So it was kind of a bitch to get the oil pressure that O-ring out, because once you got this engine in, once you got it in, getting that oil pan down is hell. You know, if you don't have the tools. I mean, I would say like it was bad. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it was bad. You know what I'm saying? I had to unbolt the transmission mount, unbolt the long motor mounts on the sides, the long bolts, and lift the transmission up.